and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe, right here in Lagos studio.
You wherever you are in the world watching us in London, I'm Austin Okonakpan.
Yeah, Austin is a loaded package tonight on the show. We're having a very, very special guest right here in Lagos studio. He'll be joining us in the first part of this show. And of course, on the show tonight, we'll be talking about the NPFL, the games that went on at the weekend, and also the prospect of having Remo Stars winning the league for the very first time. We're going to be dwelling on that and the chances of some teams going on relegation. Yes, it's official. You would say Lobby Stars 25 points from 33 games officially or mathematically, so to speak. They are being relegated from the NPFL. So they'll find life in the NNL next season. Also on the show tonight, we'll be talking about the CAF Under 20 Africa Cup of Nations. Well, you've seen the draws that was done on Sunday where the Flying Eagles, what are their chances of getting out of that group? Remember how the first group was when Côte d'Ivoire were going to host before they pulled out and Egypt had to jump in for the hosting right. Yes, they're no longer in that group of death, so to speak, because that group you had Egypt, you had South Africa, you had Morocco. But the group right now is a bit better. Tanzania, Kenya, and of course, Morocco, they're still there, but it's a group that you can say Flying Eagles can breathe and think of winning the title for record 9th time. Defending champions Senegal are also championing the beat to see how they can win the Africa Cup of Nations on the 20. And of course, we'll be giving you updates of the games going down right there in the UEFA Champions League. You've got Aston Villa. Well, there are 2 goals down at home against PSG. Not looking good for them. Aggregate, yeah, it's not looking good for them. Of course, can Real Madrid actually overturn the game they suffered at the Emirates against Arsenal at the Santiago Bernabeu? That will happen tomorrow night. We'll also dwell on that on the show tonight. Yes, it's a loaded package. Champions League on the beat, Nigerian Premier League on the beat, and also the Africa Under 20 Nations Cup. Yes, the special guest I mentioned earlier right here in Lagos studio. And of course, Austin will be talking about the Niger Delta Sports Festival, the National Sports Festival, and everything concerning sport in Bayelsa State. There's no other person to talk about this than the Commissioner for Sports of that state. He's right here live in Lagos studio. I'm talking about Daniel Igali. It's great to have you join us on the show, sir.
Thank you for having me on your program this evening.
Yes, I mean, most times we just talk on Zoom, or the last time we had it was in the other studios. For this morning, I'm just trying to remember. It's been a long time, right?
It's been a while. I was pleasantly surprised to be ushered in here. This is fantastic.
Thank you. All right, I'll start with a question before Austin will jump in on this one. Let's just start off with the performance of Bayelsa State. They literally stole the show because all eyes were on Delta State because of the numbers of gold, the numbers of medals that they had. But somehow, I mean, Bayelsa has the less good medals because he had Edo, Delta, all of them rooting it. But somehow, 2 days or a day to the time, I mean, they jumped up. They won more gold medals, and before you know it, they won the Niger Delta Sports Festival, the very first edition. And of course, you have Bayelsa stealing it from the grasp of every team, even Akwa Ibom boasting. Before the opening ceremony, I remember the governor saying they are hosting to win. But I think they finished 7th. So Austin will tell me how they finished anyway later on. But it's great to have you. How did Bayelsa, what did they do differently to actually steal the show from everyone at the final moment at the Sport Festival?
As a background, you see we've been steadily improving as a state. If you look at the National Sports Festival in 2020, 2021 Edo, where we came 3rd for the first time in our history. We were 4th before. And the current governor of the state was the Commissioner of Sports then
yes.
In 2006, when we were 4th. And then in Asaba, 2 years later, we became 2nd at the National Sports Festival. So you can see steady development.
Okay.
For this festival, I was also pleasantly surprised because after the first day, Delta was leading with about 7 gold medals. And we knew where our strengths were, but for us to catch up at the end and win it, for me also was a pleasant surprise. So I just want to give kudos to all the athletes, the coaches, the support staff, and most importantly, the government for the support we've received from His Excellency.
You said you were surprised by that. I mean, I was shocked too. I mean, how did it happen and how did they win that 50 million naira bonus? I love the fact that you're giving credit more to the athletes and, of course, the support system these athletes are getting. You talked about the progression. It didn't just start a day. You guys were doing things. Can you share some of those things Bayelsa is actually doing that other states can actually learn from? Because we're talking about grooming athletes from the grassroots level. We don't want to go abroad again and import talent to represent us at the international meets.
Yes, what we're doing is the steady progression of athletes through the system. So we had our state sports festival is now almost a yearly event. So across the 8 local government areas, and we have a lot of age grade competitions. We have schools competing. So there is this steady rise of young people who are coming into the system. So you can also see that at the youth games, Bayelsa is steadily in the top 3. We also have the Bayelsa Sports Academy. I think we are the only state that has a functional sports academy in the country.
When you say sports academy, that means all sports, not football, not just only.
We have 16 sports right now in the school.
Inside
the school, it's a specialized sports school called Aswama Sports Academy. So we have about 300 and something athletes, 338 or so athletes in that system. The government takes care of everything, and we provide as much as we can for them. They go to competitions regularly. So it's a steady development of young talent. Aside that, we've started looking at infrastructural development. Of course, over the past few months, you've heard about the standard stadium we're building, a world-class facility, 25,000 expandable capacity stadium we're building. We hope that that's going to be another catalyst for sports development in that region of the country. It might be the most up-to-date stadium in the country, where it's going to be VAR enabled. So we'll be able to host any kind of match apart from Akwa Ibom in Bayelsa, and that will be in two years.
Okay, so we are thinking now, Akwa Ibom will not just be the only FIFA standard stadium we are having in Nigeria in the next 2 years.
Yes.
So we can go to Bayelsa and Super Eagles can easily play international games there in Bayelsa.
And there might be more luck there.
I get that. Austin, I know you want to come in here. He's talking about your state.
Daniel Igali, you are shaking tables. But it's okay. Cecilia wanted to know where Akwa Ibom finished at the Niger Delta Sports Festival. Let's just leave it at Akwa Ibom came first in hosting a fantastic, maiden edition of the Niger Delta Sports Festival. And I think we should celebrate that also. Daniel Igali, I truly admire what your team seem to be doing in Bayelsa State. You have mentioned some of the things that you've put in place, but let us know how important, what role has leadership played in all of these successes I've seen from Bayelsa State?
Leadership is key. Leadership is probably the number one ingredient when you talk about steady success in an environment, especially in a sporting environment. And I will put that squarely at the foot of the governor, His Excellency Senator Dorediri. I've said this so many times, so it's sounding like a broken record, but it was a commissioner of sports. So he clearly understands what it entails. And that makes my job so much more easier. So it's almost like a hobby for me now. Everything you take to the governor, there's no time I've taken a file or a memo to the governor where he has said, no, this is too much, we have to slash it. And that's what you want to enjoy as a commissioner. So whatever you've seen happening in Bayelsa can be attributed to the passionate love of sports the governor has, the direct funding, the deliberate funding that has been attached and given to sports in Bayelsa State. And that's why you've seen sports have these modest achievements. And of course, not just the funding, he's also been able to assemble a team that has been able to carry out some of his instructions. And you see that sports has continued to soar in Bayelsa.
I needed to put that out so other states will know that this thing is not rocket science. You just need the right leadership in place to have the vision and what it takes, to take sports to the next level. Because I remember I met the governor at the World Cup in Qatar, and he said to me, Austin, we will not joke with sports. He said, I will carry Daniel Igali close and we will win. That was 2022. Now we are seeing the results. Tell me, what is the state doing for grassroots sports development?
What was that? I didn't hear that very well.
What's your team doing for grassroots sports development?
I was just mentioning that earlier. Bayelsa State is probably the only state that has a functional sports academy, where we currently have 16 sports, but it will obviously expand to some of the other sports. The sports we have now are the ones we feel we have a bit more comparative advantage. We have wrestling, most of the individual sports, the taekwondos, the karate, weightlifting, boxing, athletics, of course, swimming, and of course, football. We have all those in the academy, and the government funds 100% of all the needs of the academy. Aside that, we've been having our state sports festival, and it just started with this governor. We'd never had it before. We're also having secondary school games. Now we're going to have one edition, hopefully between September and October this year in Bayelsa. So that brings about a steady stream of young talent that go through the system.
Okay.
And we hope that once you get that right, the upper echelons of sports benefits from it.
Interesting. You know, I'm afraid because you keep mentioning the government. Is there a structure on ground, a kind of an institution that will, stand the test of time? Because when this administration is over, you may not continue to be the commissioner for the state, and maybe someone else is coming in. The governor, maybe the next governor doesn't even understand or like sports. What happened to these projects that you've mentioned? There are institutions that have been built to ensure that these are lasting legacies and not just a one-off.
I think if you've seen what has happened, look at Delta.
Yeah.
It's a progression.
Yeah.
Once you come and you meet a system that's working, and for some reason you are known for that now,
yeah,
you don't want to scatter it. You don't want to do anything that would dent that. So we're now building a 25,000 expandable capacity stadium because we have hopes of hosting the 2028 National Sports Festival.
Okay.
We want the whole of Nigeria to go and gather and be watching football. I don't see any governor who will come and say, I don't want people to now come to Bayelsa.
We are talking about investing in this grassroots that you mentioned.
Yes,
investing in that continuity that we always crave for. Because sometimes we'll see where it stopped, usually.
The Asoma Sports Academy is backed by law.
Okay, backed by law.
It's backed by law.
Okay.
So everything that happens
Do we have private investment in some of these?
There is some level of that, but of course the government takes a big brunt of that.
Okay.
So, in my view, the academy is our biggest investment.
Okay.
Because you can have all these facilities and they can be there, but if you don't have a steady stream of talent that comes through the system, once the athletes you have get to their limits, you are going to fizzle out. So the steady stream of young talented athletes coming through the system is what's going to oil the system for us, and we're hoping that we'll continue to invest in Asoma Sports Academy to become not only a regional facility but
a national facility.
And hopefully,
I'm actually looking forward to that because I want to visit their sources to actually watch it, because where you have a state where a former president comes up from, they don't have a standard stadium. It's actually very heartbreaking, to hear that. Now, let's talk about NPFL a little bit. I know you're an Arsenal fan, a big time, but hey, Bayelsa, I was looking at the NPFL table. I'm seeing Bayelsa United 10th position, 33 games, 45 points, and then you have Bayelsa Queens. I mean, they've been to the CAF Champions League. We've seen what they've been able to do.
Yeah.
They were successful when they went there, and of course, currently the NWFL, they are leading at the table ahead of Rivers Angels. What's the difference? What are you guys putting into these girls? I mean, we've seen their performance, but the guys, I mean, they're just there.
I must tell you, we're very proud of both teams. The girls have done very well. Last year, we didn't quite measure up to where we wanted to end up eventually.
Ago, yes.
So this year, our goal is to get back to the continental level. The boys, of course, you see that we were really down.
Yeah.
We were almost in relegation waters a while back, but we're steady, almost 7 games unbeaten.
Yes.
We're going away, drawing, almost winning. So I think we have gotten the team. The nucleus of the team has to be kept for the next season. This year, I don't know if we can get there, though you can't put anything beyond them.
You've got 5 games to go. Your tape's on the log.
If you win all 5 games, if you get 15 points, The way it is now in the league, we are 10th position.
Yeah.
But if you lose 3 straight games, you are into relegation.
Yeah.
So if you win 5 straight games, you could be 4th position. That's how close the points are to each other. So you can't put anything past them. But what I have seen with Bayelsa United is that if we keep the nucleus of the team for next year, we can challenge for something. For the girls, bravo to them. This is where we want them to be, and we just hope that at the Super 6, we're going to be able to hink it this time.
Edo Queens are smiling, I guess. Austin?
Yeah. Let's talk about the National Sports Commission, Daniel Igali. Are we already winning with it?
I can tell you one thing. I like what I see from the National Sports Commission. I like the futuristic ambitions of the National Sports Commission. I have had a few discussions with both of them, both the DG and the chairman, and they've now set up a system for elite athlete development. And they're looking at giving out grants, and they're always reaching out to look at how best we can get these things done. And these are the things we've been canvassing for a number of years. Once you've been able to identify your athletes, then you need to expose them. You need to get the nutritionists for them. You need to get the best doctors for them. You need to ensure that they have the best coaches, the training environment, and they need to compete regularly. And that is what we're now trying to put in place. The National Sports Commission has that mentality. And I hope that if we go with this, that in 4 years, the 2028 Olympics, 2032 Olympics, and hopefully bid for the 2030 Commonwealth Games, Nigeria will rightly be back on its footing.
I've known you for quite some time, and you're big on development. If you have a chance to correct one thing or just advise the NSC leadership, what would be that thing that we need to fix to get our sports flying again?
I don't know if you can say one thing, because funding, there's because funding is key. And it doesn't matter if you don't have the funding component of it, the change of name is just a mere, I think it will just be a mere, a token nomenclature, sort of. You must get the funding right. And once you get the funding, you can now put all the other pieces. You can put the facilities, you can put the medical aspect of it, you can look at the coaching, and then the competition aspect of it. Once you get all 5 together, then eventually you are going to get the results. So if I were to look at one, then I'll say the National Sports Commission should get the funding component of it right. Because once you get that right, we can put all the other structures together.
Interesting. I think this will be the right way to actually leave this discussion here. I don't know, maybe just one, we have 30 seconds. The upcoming federation elections.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what are your plans for federation elections is coming? You're the president of Nigerian Wrestling Federation. Of course, we know you anticipate what you've done for wrestling. But the national, the upcoming national federation elections.
I think this will be a good opportunity for the National Sports Commission to reset the agenda.
Okay.
I've been there for 12 years. I will no longer be contesting as president, but we have a very good successor, a very suitable person who we feel will continue with our programs and hopefully even expand on what we are doing. So I believe that if we get our guy, wrestling will be in good hands.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Daniel Igali, for gracing our studio tonight on the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back. Kehinde Idris is right here in the studio. Kehinde, it's great to have you.
It's good to be here. And if this were to be a football match, substituting the man that just left here will feel like you're headed for greatness, because he's a great man that just left here. Our history will never forget what Daniel Igali had done to our sport. So many times we'll say wrestling, but now I'm saying our sport, because what Bayelsa is doing is now like a light beaming on all other parts of the country. And I say fantastic thank you to the man who just left here. So me substituting, it feels like I'll be part of those who help Nigeria to the next phase of greatness. Inside your mind, you're a great man.
I think he's just one of those former, athletes who represent. He didn't represent Nigeria. He represented Canada, and he won gold medal for them wrestling as that. I mean, he has seen what's going on over there. He came here and then he's putting that in place. That's what we want everyone to actually do to grow the game of our sport. All right, let's talk about the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. Yes, the draws are out, so we'll just quickly take a look at how it looks like, what it looks like before, and what it is now. It's kind of different from what we had before, where you have when you look at the group of Nigeria, I mean, when you have Morocco, Egypt, South Africa, you're like, what's going on? Is that they don't even want any of these teams to get out of the group? You don't put these heavyweights together. But now it's kind of friendly. So we have a friendly group, so to speak. So here you go for the draws for the Africa Cup of Nations. Egypt is hosting, but in Group A, you've got 5 teams. You've got Egypt, the host nation, Zambia, Sierra Leone, Tanzania, and of course, South Africa. Imagine having Egypt and South Africa before in the group of Nigeria and Morocco. So this is Group A. And Group B, now you have Nigeria, Tunisia, Kenya, and Morocco. Kind of simpler now, you would say Kenya on the 20. Interesting. So let's take a look at Group C, the final group for the Africa Cup of Nations. Senegal, defending champions, Central African Republic. Of course, you also have DR Congo, and you have Ghana. So that's what it looks like. So I'll come to you here, Kehinde. I mean, this group is a bit better and friendlier compared to what you had before.
Yeah. I think there was a proper shuffle and proper distribution in the team. See, one of the beauties of group stage games is to have a mixture. Top teams, middle class teams, and then lower teams. Not like that is what it is, but on paper, you can all go on and play the group stage, and the weakest team would, get past everybody. But on paper, it has that thorough mix. And then when you do that, most of the time, you have the top teams qualifying from there and then going to the knockout round. Then you have a blistering knockout round, a knockout round that is very competitive. But when you put the powerhouses, in almost in the same group or in like 2 groups, when it gets to knockout round, games seem very predictable because you find very strong team with very not so strong a team. So fantastic shuffle, and now we're looking forward to the Under-20. Yes, we're all preparing to go to Cote d'Ivoire. Now it would have to be in Egypt. And swift rescue by Egypt. Well done. I'm hoping someday Nigeria will be a rescue mission for competitions.
Okay, Austin, a quick one on we'll say the draws, and of course it's a bit easier on the eyes compared to what we had before. When Cote d'Ivoire were going to host, before they say, hey, we can't do this, let's just give it to whoever wants to host. And Egypt, they have to jump in, rescue CAF, they're hosting. And Nigeria is a friendlier group compared to what you had before when the draw was done.
Sincerely, what bothered us with the first group was South Africa and Egypt, and that's simply because they are big on grassroots sports development, and that's because they've invested in sports at that level, and we haven't really done much because we are just big on consumption, go to competitions and just win, and that's a big problem. And at this level, what's making us think that we're even better than Tunisia, the Morocco, even Kenya, that we can see that now they've seen the need to, develop football at that level because they are, hosting both the CHAN and the next AFCON, and they want to, be, some good of competition out there. So at this level, me, I'm struggling not to still say it's for development because you guys will say still under 20. But no, at this stage, you should be checking what you did from sometimes, even in this country, their criteria for under 17 is that where you performed at under 12 and under 13 in England. Because at under 12, if you're playing under 17, they think you've had 5 years of good football experience in the bag. So when they think under 20 from under 12, that's a proper, almost 10-year plan program. I think that's what we should be thinking. Let's have a conscience and kill these old go to competitions and win and start thinking of ways that we can actually develop. When was the last time we had progression into the Super Eagles? A player from under 17 that passed to 20 and then got to the Super Eagles. Been a long, long time. Maybe the Osimhen set. So that's where we should go back and see. Not, oh, we want to go to this under 20 AFCON now. We just want to win. We have academic players. If we are genuinely going with young players,
so let me tell you why it's actually important to win. You know, when you win, those players can easily get into the senior national team. When they don't win, you don't hear about them. So that's why it's always cool for them to go there and win.
Was it not last year or 2 years ago? Where are those players?
Wait. What did we win? We won Waffle B. Did we win?
That's what I'm saying. We won a lap at Waffle level. Well, let's see progression.
We're not talking about Waffle level. We're talking about the continent, not the regional level. Continental level. I mean, Ghana has won the under 20 FIFA World Cup. I mean, we can actually aspire to win. The highest will be
Ghana has won the under 20 FIFA World Cup. They can't qualify. They can't qualify for AFCON. That's the problem. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, we'll leave it.
What is the plan? We all know the problem. Age cheat is a big problem. It's a cankerworm. So why the North Africans are doing well is because they're being realistic. They are playing their football with a conscience and they're investing and developing at that level. That's what we should be doing. Let me land with this to CAF. Now, Cote d'Ivoire came out to say they cannot host, and they carried this competition, and Egypt is now hosting. They took the CHAN, they postponed it all the way to August, where now 70% of the players from the league Sicilia, by August, they would have all gone to different clubs in Europe, and it will water down the competition. So that thumbs down to CAF.
you know, if we start discussing CAF, I mean, we need like 2 shows back to back. I would just say today we are discussing CAF. We'll start and then we'll end it the next day.
Because that was what I was saying. That if Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania weren't ready to host the CHAN, we have rescue in Morocco and Egypt, or South Africa. Take the competition there and do the CHAN. They would have forgotten about it by now. August, and we are still waiting.
Aisha is going to hold in August. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and see what CAF can actually do differently. It's actually a shame, you know. And the WAFCON is coming up, you know, and then we're not seeing buzz around it. And, you know, it's coming on the same time you have the Euros. So buzz around in the Euros because you have the UEFA Nations League going on for the women. And that brings us to international break. We had 2 international breaks back to back. Super Falcons have not been busy, but hopefully they'll be busy in the next 2 before WAFCON. So we'll just end it there. Yeah, hopefully. Always hoping. All right, let's quickly go to the league. I mean, fingers crossed, right? I love that. So let's go to the NPFL. I mean, it's getting more interesting. I mean, interesting matchups over the weekend. And of course, you have Insurance going away from home to collect all 3 points. And Heartland were beating champions. That Oriental Derby was fantastic. You could have expected that Rangers trying to get into the continent will be losing to Heartland, who started so badly when the season started. But right now, they're riding and getting closer up there, courtesy of Emmanuel Amunike doing big things for the club. So I'll run through the results first before we digest some of the interesting results that happened over the weekend. Remo Stars couldn't win at home against Katsina United. That game ended goalless, but Remo Stars are still top of the table, 7 points adrift their closest rival. Now, this is the game for the weekend. Heartland beating Rangers at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. 2-0. Abia Warriors beating Rivers United, who could have closed the gap on Remo Stars, but they couldn't do that. They lost at Abia by 2-0. And Kwara United losing at home to Benin Insurance, who got all 3 points away from home. And Kano Pillars beating Lobby Stars, 25 points after 33 games. Well, bye-bye NNL next season. So let's take a look at the other result. Ikorodu City, the last time they scored 6, right? And this time it was 3, Niger to end. So that Mobolaji Johnson Arena is becoming a big fortress where teams are slaughtered. Yeah? Sunshine Stars beating Eimba 2-0. So just look at the big teams that are losing at the weekend. Aqua United couldn't win at home against Economy Warriors. They ended 1-0. And Nasarawa United are trying everything possible not to be relegated. They defeated Plateau United by 3-2. And of course, Bayelsa United beating Shooting Stars 3-0. Shooting Stars will be up against Remo Stars, right? Getting more interesting. So, Austin, I'm going to start off with you here. Which of these interesting games actually got your attention? But I think my big one will be Rangers losing to Heartland. I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah, definitely. The Oriental Derby, the last one for the season, and Heartland, they were pumped up for it. Before that game, they were already announcing it that they cannot wait to go to Enugu, and they knew that if they win that game and Aqua United, falters, which happened, then they will get off the relegation zone, and that's what happened, for Heartland. Shout out to Emmanuel Amunike, but hey, they are not yet safe, because if you take a look at the league table, I think from the team that is 7th to about 19th on the log can still go down. But Heartland did just enough. That was poor defending by Austin Okpara there.
Yeah.
And then the striker, capitalized and then finished it off so well. So that was big win for Heartland. We matched the 32, 33 gave us 22 goals, 1 away win, which is a big one from Bernal Insurance, a stunning victory for Heartland, also away from home. And of course, Ikorodu City, we cannot just stop talking about them. They were on fire against Niger today, though. So it tells you now that we've gotten into home stretch, that a lot of things will start happening. Yes, someone will say Remo Stars, they are safe because they have 7 points, difference at the top. But for Remo Stars not to beat Katsina United, you tell you that it's very, very difficult. And I knew that it was going to be tough for Rivers United against Abia Warriors, a team that has been fantastic all season. Shout out to Coach Imama and the work that he has done with that team, the Warriors, all day, every day. Arguably one of the best teams so far this season. So, Cecilia, this one definitely was one for the books. We cannot, take away what Bendel Insurance also did, going away to Ilorin to beat Kwara United was a good one. This is a team that was struggling. When you look at Ikorodu City and Bendel Insurance, Ikorodu City 4th, Bendel Insurance 5th. 2 teams that at the end of the first stanza were saying, where are these teams going? Now look at the turnaround.
Yeah.
So it tells you that the NPFL is competitive, and that they play good football. We just need to do the right things to invest, and before you know it, the world will be talking about this league, Cecilia.
Yeah, investing in infrastructure is actually key. We want to see beautiful stadiums across the country. That is key. Abia Warriors and Rivers.
Yeah.
I expected a different result.
I didn't expect a different result.
You expected that?
The result that was gotten was what I saw coming, because Abia Warriors with Imam Pakabo, they've been fantastic. Like Austin, said, they've been one of the best teams this season. And there is something about Abia Warriors. They are not one of those your flamboyant teams, but they continue to get the job done on the ground. Now, match day 33 is hitting us that they are actually here to, just for continental spaces. So already Rivers United are under pressure. Now, they took points off Rivers United, the team they are right behind and chasing to usurp them from their position. And I think that makes that game the biggest game for me this weekend. Yeah. Yes, the Atlant Rangers, fantastic game also. But Abia Warriors playing Rivers United, I think that was the biggest game. There was a lot at stake. And yes, we did see that it meant a lot to Rivers United after they lost all 3 points. Number one, they would have put pressure on Remo Stars if they had won.
They reduced it.
Number two, the team behind is now bringing down their
2 points behind them.
2 points behind them. And you can see Ikorodu City. I think Ikorodu City
just about
did something fantastic.
Yeah.
In the same season, they learned, like you came in, learned your lesson, and you're making use of that lesson in the same season. They suffered at the start of the season, and we thought it was going to be, as you come,
you go back.
You go. But they learned, they quickly regrouped, call themselves together. If we have to survive in the NPFL, we need to start playing some fantastic football, not minding what the opponent is and all of that. And then they started that. As of match day 15, Ikorodu City was match day 33. We're talking about them as one of them. And somebody said, I don't care who wins the league. If this league finishes today, Ikorodu City should be awarded the best team this term. Because if you're coming off wherever, coming into
from
the NPFL
for the first time, and you're going on the continent.
This is what you're doing. I think that's beautiful. So those are games I really saw. I really followed. Although the Bendel Insurance Kwara United, that's another good game. And then the game that gave us heel, Nasarawa United versus Plateau United. I hope someday we'll stop talking about our football attached with a whole lot of drama.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to start off the show with that drama, because that is not what we want to sell when it comes to NPFL. Now let's take a look at the top four, for the Nigeria Premier Football League. The top four. There you have it. Abia Warriors that we've been talking about. Ikorodu City climbing into the top four. And then you have Benin Insurance closely follow, as Austin mentioned earlier, the fifth spot. But after 33 matches, Remo Stars still maintain that top spot, 62 points, goal difference of plus 18. This is where they've done everything possible to ensure that, yes, even if it comes to the goals, they are ready to go. But they've lost 9 and so far this season compared to Rivers United, who've lost 8. But then when you take a look at the points, they've won 15 compared to 19 that Remo Stars have won. And that's why they are on 53 points, of course, goal difference of minus plus 7. Abia Warriors closely followed behind, and after 16 wins this season, which is higher than that of Rivers United, and of course they've lost 12 games. That's when they started the season, and now goal difference of plus 5. But then they are on 53 points, just 2 points behind second place Rivers. And then you talk about Ikorodu City. This is where it is big. Remember them scoring 9 goals in just 2 games, plus 17. So no matter what happens right now, if any team is trying to overtake them, they'll have to not just surpass them in points, they just have to surpass them in points. Because when it comes to goal difference, no one is close. The only team happens to be Remo Stars, who are actually at top of the league. Let's take a look at the bottom 4. Yes, these are teams, well, who knows what's going to happen next season? So none of them is actually safe. It has 3 matches for Katsina United. They've won just 11 this season, losing 14. Goal difference, they are owing -6 and on 41 points. Aqua United, they've won 10 matches, losing 15. Goal difference -4 and on 38 points. Come to Sunshine Stars, 33 games. After 33 games, 10 wins. They've also had 10 wins. They've drawn 8. Losing also 15, but goal difference of -15. That's where the trouble is. And of course, 38 points, same with Aqua United. The difference is just the goal difference. They've conceded more goals than Aqua United. And Lobby Stars, of course, the whole of this season, they've won just 5 games, drawing 10 and losing 18. Yes, 18. Goal difference, well, what is this? -20. And then they have 25 points. So, I mean, Austin, which of these teams is going to actually join Lobby Stars? Quick one.
It will shock you that even maybe none of those 3 there will might drop. With what we've seen with the league. We have 5 more important
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games.
You never say never. Daniel Igali echoed it, that even teams that you think that might not make it to the continent, they have a chance.
Yeah.
I think Katsina United proved the point in their last game against Remo Stars that, look, for a team that really wants to fight, they can actually fight. Heartland just showed it also with the Oreta Derby, going to Enugu to give Rangers, the almighty Rangers, defending champions, their 5th home loss this season. So some teams that have even gone to Enugu to win, you'll be wondering what happened. So, Cecilia, you never say never. Aqua United, they were unfortunate. Remember, it was an own goal in that game against the El Kanemi Warriors. If not, they would have just even gone to win by a single goal. So, let's see. Maybe if it's 3 more matches to go, the writings will now be clear on the wall. Because since Sunshine Stars, for instance, I thought they were down and out. I did not expect them to beat Aimba. And they got the win over Aimba, which I thought was a difficult game. And with that now, they've pumped up, their survivor
since you're not saying
so,
the teams, let's leave it at that. Maybe I'll ask you next week, upper week. I'll ask you then. We'll have a clearer picture.
I know
Let's take a look at President's Federation.
I know, but football will shame you.
Yeah, it's happening right now with Aston Villa, right? Okay, President Federation Cup taking place across the country on Wednesday. We have a game in Lagos, Benin Insurance and Rangers. The rivalry here, man, dates back to how they presented the show alongside with Ken Ochonoga. When they started the history of Benin Insurance and Rangers, you have to respect these 2 teams. But they will be in Lagos for round of 16 fixtures. Enyimba and Abakaliki will be in Enugu for this one. And they also have Plateau United and Oshu United. They'll be in Kogi to play the round of 16. Nasarawa United and Bayelsa United will also be in Kogi for this game. So you have Ikorodu City and Beyond Limits, they'll be in Abuja. Solution FC and Kwara United will be in Benin City. Warri Wolves and Wiki Tourists, they will be in Abuja. And Aqua United and Inter Lagos, they will also be in Abuja for these games. And that's why you have some games in the NWFL are being played between 12 p.m. and 2 p.m. Games are moving in NWFL. I don't know why my president didn't put the slides around. I'm going to hold him responsible on Thursday when we come back on the show. Okay, but there you have it for 2025 Federation Cup round of 16. So quick one, we're going to look at the UEFA Champions League Austin updates coming from Aston Villa. And of course, you're also going to tell me about Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund. But the games for tomorrow, this one, the quarterfinal second leg, Real Madrid and Arsenal will be in action. Aggregate right now is 3-0. We'll see what's going to happen tomorrow night. Of course, they have Inter Milan and Bayern. Aggregate 2-1. Inter Milan leading this one. Austin, a quick update. Aston Villa, have they been able to turn it around?
Cecilia, they are pushing, they are fighting. They came back in the second half and turned up the heat. John McGinn, remember they pulled one back, went into the break 2-1. John McGinn scored one, and then Concert scored a second. So at the moment, it's Aston Villa 3, but Paris Saint-Germain 2. 4-5 on aggregate. So now they are looking for that decisive goal. Unai Emery is telling them, go out, go out. He doesn't care. Just do the pressing game. We are now in the 87th minute. They need one goal. Let's go to Germany. It's Borussia Dortmund 3, Barcelona 1, 3-5 on aggregate. Barca will be thanking their goodness gracious for all of the goals that they scored in the first leg, because it's Borussia Dortmund that has scored the 4 goals in this encounter. It was an own goal that gave Barca the goal that they have, that has even pushed them to look good. So Cecilia, it's UEFA Champions League, it's night of fireworks. I think one team, either Borussia Dortmund or Aston Villa, will just even go through. We'll see.
It tells me that we'll see some few minutes to go. But it shows that tomorrow Real Madrid can actually dream. What do you think? Can they dream?
Anybody can dream. I call it the magical night of the UEFA Champions League.
Okay.
And that's why we love it, because magic does happen. And we're already seeing, especially Dortmund, seem like dead buried, but they pumped up and they look like they might just cross the line. So tomorrow, Real Madrid is the Royal Real Madrid. You cannot take anything off them. And they are playing Arsenal so many times.
But we've seen the turnaround that has been happening. Man City and then Chelsea.
Exactly.
And then PSG.
Yes.
And Real Madrid have done all that.
Exactly.
Karim Benzema effect and everything, but it's no longer there. But there's Kylian Mbappe.
You don't have to mention names. It is Real Madrid.
Okay.
When it is Real Madrid, anything happens. Like my brother would say, the only part Real Madrid has is, I'll qualify over you.
Interesting. Hope Bayern Munich, do they have any hope?
Of course.
Okay,
of course.
They still do.
It's a slim win. Very traditional Champions League team. They want to fancy their chances going to the Miazza. Inter Milan are, say, one of the most organized team in Europe. I think people don't give them their credit enough. Simeone is doing a great job. But Bayern Munich will be a handful when tomorrow comes.
So, Austin, we have to leave the studio right now. But Arsenal, Real Madrid, where's your money on? Your money, is it in your pocket, or you're going to drop it on which of
my money is in my head, because if you think you know football, it will stun you. So let's see. I know Arsenal might just score a goal. But Real Madrid will. When you play Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, you're not just playing the team. You are playing UEFA. You are playing Spain and the fans. All the best to Arsenal. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Kenny Idris, it was nice doing this with you.
It's always good doing this with you too.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night, guys.